Most traders don't blow up because they're wrong too often. They blow up because of one piece of math they never bothered to learn. Two traders can run the exact same strategy with the exact same win rate, start with the exact same $10,000, and a year later, one has nearly doubled their account, while the other is completely broke. By the end of this video, you'll understand the math that decides which one you become. You've probably heard the claim that the vast majority of retail traders lose money. You'll see numbers like 90% thrown around constantly. Honestly, that exact figure is hard to verify. Different studies say different things, and a lot of it is just repeated until it sounds official. So let's not argue about the percentage. Let's look at something you can verify, the math. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people who lose money trading don't lose it because they can't pick winners. They lose it because they never understood how losses actually behave, how losses and gains are not symmetrical, how a few bad trades can dig a hole that's almost impossible to climb out of, and how the size of your bets matters far more than how often you're right. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you three things. First, the recovery math. Why losing money hurts you way more than making the same amount helps you. Second, a side-by-side example with a trader named Marcus, where two versions of the same person take the same losing streak and end up in completely different worlds. And third, the 5 most common mistakes that turn a normal losing streak into a blown-up account, and exactly how to avoid each one. Let's get into it. Let's start with the single most important idea in this entire video, and it's something most beginners get completely backwards. Losses and gains are not symmetrical. A loss hurts you more than an equal-sized gain helps you. Let me prove it with simple arithmetic. Say you have $10,000 and you lose 10%. You're now at $9,000. Easy, right? Now, how much do you need to gain to get back to even? Most people instantly say 10%, but that's wrong. 10% of 9,000 is only $900. That gets you to 9,900, not back to 10. To recover from a 10% loss, you actually need to gain 11.1%. Why? Because you're now earning that gain on a smaller pile of money. That gap might sound tiny, but watch what happens as the losses get bigger, because the relationship is not a straight line. It accelerates. Lose 20%, and you don't need 20% to recover. You need 25%. Lose 30%, you need nearly 43%. Lose 40%, you need to make 67% just to break even. And here's the one that should stop you cold. Lose 50% of your account, and you need to make 100%. You have to double your remaining money just to get back to where you started. It gets worse. Lose 70%, and you need a 233% gain to recover. Lose 90%, which happens to blown-up accounts all the time, and you need to make 900%. You'd have to turn $1,000 into $10,000 just to undo a single catastrophic stretch. Almost nobody does that. The hole becomes mathematically impossible to climb out of. The formula behind this, if you're curious, is simple. The gain you need equals your loss divided by 1 minus your loss. But you don't need to memorize it. You just need to feel the shape of it. Small losses are easy to recover from. Big losses recover at a brutal, exponential cost. And that is the entire reason professional traders are obsessed with one idea above all others: protecting their capital. Here's the mindset shift. Beginners ask, how much can I make on this trade? Survivors ask, how much can I lose, and can I recover from it if I'm wrong? Because if you keep your losses small, say, never letting any single trade cost you more than 1 or 2% of your account, you stay in the shallow, recoverable end of this table forever. You could lose 10 trades in a row and still only be down around 10%, which needs just an 11% gain to fix. But if you let your losses run deep, the math itself becomes your enemy, and no win rate on earth can save you. Let's make this real with an example. Meet Marcus. Marcus has $10,000 in a trading strategy that wins about half the time, 50-50, a literal coin flip on each trade. Now, I'm going to show you two versions of Marcus. Same account, same strategy, same exact losing streak. The only difference is how much he risks per trade. Watch what that one choice does. Version 1, Reckless Marcus. He's confident. He wants to get rich fast. So in each trade, he risks 20% of his account. Now here's something most beginners don't realize. Losing streaks are completely normal. Even with a 50-50 strategy, over a few hundred trades, you will absolutely hit a run of 5, 6, even 7 losses in a row. That's not bad luck. That's just statistics. The math says, in 100 trades, expect a losing streak of about 6 or 7 at some point. It will happen to you. So Reckless Marcus hits a totally ordinary 5-trade losing streak. Let's count it down. He starts at 10,000. After loss 1, risking 20%, he's at 8,000. Loss 2, he's at 6,400. Loss 3, 5,120. Loss 4, 4096. Loss 5, he's at $3,277. In 5 completely normal losing trades, Reckless Marcus has lost 67% of his account. Now go back to the recovery table. To climb out of a 67% hole, Marcus needs to make over 200%. He needs to roughly triple what's left just to get back to even. And here's the human part. Nobody trades calmly from that position. He panics. He doubles his risk to make it back fast. That's the death spiral, and it ends with a 0. Now let's rewind. Same Marcus, same strategy, same 5-loss streak. But this is disciplined Marcus, and he only risks 1% per trade. Loss 1, he's at 9,900. Loss 2, 9,801. Loss 3, 97,003. Loss 4, 9606. Loss 5, he's at $9,510. The exact same losing streak that destroyed the reckless version cost the disciplined version less than 5%. He barely feels it. He doesn't panic, he doesn't change anything, and when his 50-50 edge produces a few winners, which it will, he's right back to even and beyond. Sit with that for a second, because it's the whole video in one comparison. Same person, same strategy, same luck. One choice, how much to risk per trade, was the entire difference between a 4.9% dip and a 67% catastrophe. The market didn't decide who survived. The position size did. So if the math is this clear, why do so many people still go broke? Because they make these 5 specific mistakes, and every one of them attacks the math we just learned. Let's go through them and the fix for each. Mistake number 1, oversizing your positions. This is Reckless Marcus, risking 10, 20, 25% of your account on a single trade. It feels exciting when you win, but it puts you one normal losing streak away from the deep end of that recovery table. The fix is boring, and it works. Pick a fixed percentage you'll risk per trade and never break it. 1% is the classic. 2% is aggressive. At 1%, you could lose 20 trades in a row and still have about 80% of your account left. That's survivable. That's the entire point. Mistake number 2, moving or removing your stop loss. A stop loss is the line where you've decided to admit you're wrong and get out. Beginners set it, then watch the trade go against them and think, I'll just give it a little more room. So they drag the stop further away. Now a trade that was supposed to cost them 2% costs them 20. They've manually walked themselves into the deep end of the table. The fix: decide your exit before you enter and treat that line as non-negotiable. The whole job of a stop is to keep your losses in the recoverable zone. Mistake number 3, averaging down into a loser. This is when a trade is losing, and instead of cutting it, you buy more to lower your average price. It feels smart. It's cheaper now. But what you're really doing is adding money to a position that's already proven you wrong, increasing your total risk exactly when you should be reducing it. One bad trade becomes a giant bad trade. The fix: add 2 positions that are working, not ones that are bleeding. Be willing to be wrong, small. Mistake number 4, revenge trading. We have a whole video on this, but here's the math angle. After a painful loss, your brain screams to make it back immediately. So you take a bigger, faster, lower quality trade. You're now risking more on a worse setup while emotional. That's the exact behavior that turns Reckless Marcus's 67% whole into a 0. The fix: after a loss, your size should stay the same or go down, never up. The market doesn't owe you a refund, and trying to force one is how the death spiral starts. Mistake number 5, underestimating losing streaks. Most beginners build their whole plan around winning. They assume a 5 or 6 trade losing streak means their strategy is broken, so they panic, abandon it, or blow up trying to fight it. But we already saw those streaks are statistically guaranteed to show up, even in a perfectly good strategy. The fix: plan for the losing streak before it happens. Size your trades so that a 7-loss run is an annoyance, not an extinction event. If you survive the streaks, your edge gets the chance to actually work. Now, everything we covered today, the recovery math, position sizing, surviving the streaks, that's the foundation of an entire approach to trading where the first goal isn't getting rich. It's not going broke. This video is part of a full series on risk management and protecting your capital, where we break down each of these tools one at a time with the same kind of concrete numbers you saw today. If that's the way you want to learn, math first, hype never, subscribe, and turn on the bell so the next one lands in your feed. It genuinely helps the channel reach the people who need this before they blow up an account. So here's the one thing I want you to walk away with. You don't go broke from losing trades. Every trader on earth has losing trades. You go broke from losing too much on them. Protect your capital first. Keep every loss small enough to recover from easily, and you give your strategy the one thing it needs to ever work: time. Survival is the edge. If you want to go deeper, the next step is our breakdown of the 1% rule and exactly how to calculate your position size on any trade. That's where the survival math becomes a repeatable habit. And if you noticed yourself in reckless markets, the video on revenge trading and the psychology of chasing losses will hit home. I'll link those for you. Trade smaller than you think you should, and I'll see you in the next one. Quick standard note: this video is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research. And that's a wrap on today's topic. If you found this helpful, be sure to hit like and subscribe so you never miss a lesson. Have a question about what we covered today? Drop it in the comments below. I'll be answering the best ones. If you want to dive even deeper, click on this next video right here, where we explore next topic. Thanks for learning with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.